President Akufo-Addo there, he also mentioned, for example, that the nation may decide to do some review to certain portions of the Constitution if the need be to meet the changing times, contemporary times, and even for the future. Joining me in studio, Dennis Wedam is with the News Planning Department. Dennis, this has stoked a lot of controversy and conversation in the last few hours. Some of the proponents of an overhaul of the Constitution say it's time for the Constitution in its entirety to be overhauled. Some also say they agree with the president who says, in parts, there could be amendments if there need be. But what do we know about the Constitution Review Commission that was set up to, propose some of the amendments, and where are we on that?
Well, so when it comes to conversations about the review of the Constitution, this has been ongoing for a very long time, even just immediately after the 1992 Constitution came to being. But it only got to 2010 when a commission was set up to review the Constitution. They went on a nationwide tour to seek ideas from people which parts of the Constitution they thought could be reviewed. The commission worked for like 2 years, presented a report somewhere around December 2011.
Okay.
Government issued a white paper accepting some of the things and rejecting some of them. On here, just some highlights of some of the things that came up when the review committee presented its reports, and then government issued a white paper. So there was a conversation about the president paying tax. Under Article 68(5) of the 1992 Constitution, the allowances, the salaries, the emoluments of the president are not supposed to be subject to tax.
Okay.
They think that the president, as the leader of the nation, must set a good example, and that his salaries must be subject to tax. That the government accepted at the time, but it's now left with that to be implemented. There was also the very controversial issue about the district assembly elections, which came quite strongly before the 2020 elections. That amendment, that there was supposed to be an amendment to certain portions of the Constitution, specifically Article 55(3) and then 2431, to enable political parties sponsor candidates to participate in local government politics. That we know how it ended. But let me also put it on record that even the government then rejected that particular recommendation by the Commission. There was also the conversation about gender representation, just in line with affirmative action and things of that sort. The government then accepted that an amendment be made to provide that for all public institutions, at least there should be 30% of each gender. So for an institution, be it men or women, at least there should be 30% of that. There was also the question of how many justices should be at the Supreme Court. There was a recommendation that Article 1241 be amended, just so that we have a maximum of 15 justices. As it stands now, under Article 2181, we have the Chief Justice himself, and then not less than 9 justices. It doesn't give a ceiling.
Okay.
So this was meant to give a ceiling to that particular one. So yes, 3 of them here were accepted, 1 rejected. But the president, in his his address yesterday, mentioned that there are renewed conversations about bringing back the district assembly elections bit. The acting AG then had also mentioned that steps had been taken to have that done. So what we know now is that there have also been other conversations about other proposals. For instance, an amendment to Article 881 to have the Office of the Attorney General decoupled from the Minister of Justice, and then some other recommendations that have to do with the EC and then dual citizenship and all of that. Okay. So there's been a lot of conversation on constitutional review matters.
Thank you, Dennis Wedam. Joining us via Zoom is a political research analyst with CDD Ghana, Gilfred Isiama. Thank you for joining us. Some say it's beginning to become a tired conversation to be talking about review of a constitution or amendment to certain portions of a constitution. But you've done a lot of work in this area. From where you sit, what are the feasible areas that you reckon should see an amendment, for example?
Well, thank you very much, Roland. I think the issue about constitutional amendments is long overdue. And over the years, we've maintained that the powers that are available to the president in this democratic regime is not helpful if you want to sustain our democracy. At the time of transitioning from an autocracy, J.J. Rawlings administration, to a democracy, you can say it was a very good compromise to sustain that kind of arrangement. But we are 30 years into our democratic dispensation, and we think we need to move away from where we started off. Some of the issues that you have already mentioned include issues about local government elections. So the president is too powerful. We've said it over and over. he is too powerful that you can even liken the presidency to a king or a kingdom. The powers that the president exercises is too much for any good president to sustain a very effective democracy.
Right.
So one, we need to elect our local government representatives, MMDCs, that the people should be given the power to do that. There are arguments about that as to whether we should go non-partisan or we should go partisan, multi-party elections at the local level. That one needs more discussions in order to reach consensus. One thing that people fail to understand is that, well, majority of Ghanaians may prefer a non-partisan elections, but again, your politician at the national level also has interest in local governance. So we need to reach a very good compromise for all of us to move away where the president appoints basically almost all important people in this country. So I think that is one of the things that we need to do if you want to consolidate our democracy.
Thank you very much. Gilfred Isiama, he is a political research analyst with the CDD, helping us with that conversation there.